I'm Jay-Z.
I'm Daniel.
This is Just My DIY.
Cricut says their mug press is here to handle 15 and 12-ounce coffee mugs.
Yes, but as we showed you a couple of videos ago, you can do a 20-ounce tumbler in it. Our question today is, how tall of a skinny tumbler can you do, and how wide of a tumbler can you do?
So let's press on.
So this tumbler is 9.5 inches tall, so that's what we're going to be testing. Can we get the full 9.5 inches? This tumbler is 3.5 inches in diameter, which is definitely more than the diameter that Cricut says you can do. So that's what we're testing.
We are printing this out on our converted Epson EcoTank 2720.
And now we're going to test the height.
This is a mug we might have shown you during our Avoid These 5 Mistakes when trying to press a tumbler video. This one representing the don't use Cricut's infusible ink sheets to try and sublimate a tall tumbler. We are now going to use this in an experiment to figure out where its heat zones actually are on the Cricut Mug Press, so we can see if it's even possible to do an entire tall tumbler.
So we're going to tape the graphic to the tumbler using heat-resistant tape, and then wrap it in 2 sheets of butcher paper.
Because it's important to know that once sublimated ink can actually resublimate.
Yes. Now, if you look inside your mug press, you'll see that the heat plate doesn't go all the way to the top, and that's what we're testing here. It's about a 1/2 inch down. A little silicone piece to cover the silver plate at the bottom when we're sublimating tumblers. So we sublimate the bottom half first, and then we're going to turn it upside down, and we're going to put it all the way down over that silver plate. It's important to note that at this point the very rim of the tumbler is not getting sublimated, which is why we
lift it up a little bit and press it again.
Yep. And we weren't quite sure that we had lifted it up enough. We had looking at it this way, but since we were behind the machine, we lifted it up a tiny bit more before we took it out and let it cool. As Daniel said earlier, one thing we did notice on our butcher paper that we had wrapping this is that some of the ink that was previously sublimated did gas off onto the butcher paper. So if you are sublimating in layers, make sure you cover the sublimated pieces.
So it turns out that there was about 3/4 of an inch of the tumbler that we couldn't truly sublimate. It did pick up some color, but you can see it left a lot and it didn't quite come to the same color as the rest.
So that one's a no. On to the width test. Just as a reminder, the tumbler that we are trying is 3.5 inches wide.
So as we wrap things around, we have to remember there's a bottom ridge on there that doesn't sublimate well. So we set the design above that and tape everything in place. We wrap it in a double layer of butcher paper again. And we try to insert it.
Yeah. It's definitely a tight fit.
I just keep saying it, that's cool.
Ah! He keeps making this dirty, and it's not meant to be dirty. So, with all the layers, this is wider. We know these fit in there when they're bare. So we're gonna add some tape to make this process go a little smoother.
Impressive.
Put it there. Like we said, this is pushing the bounds a little bit of this machine. Okay.
Do it.
You can't move it at all.
I didn't. Oh, yeah, there is no pressing.
No, none at all. So we're just gonna time on the phone. We are gonna give this about 1:15 before we wedge it up and spin it a little bit, because this side right here is not getting sublimated right now. Once time is up, we lift the mug out, turn it about 1/4 of the way so we make sure we sublimate that part that has been exposed.
We did have to be a bit forceful with the wedging of it back out. And then we go ahead and put it back in again.
You'll see Daniel marking that ridge just so we can look at it in relation to the heat plate again. We will point out that when this tumbler is bare, it fits in the press just fine and the lever on top goes down all the way. But with the thick sublimation paper and 2 layers of butcher paper, it just made a really tight fit. But once we took it out, we gave it 15 minutes to cool and then see how it worked. I think the answer to this one is yes, you can. So as we said at the beginning of the video, we're going to test how tall of an item and how wide of an item you can sublimate in your Cricut Mug Press.
And the answer is not this tall of an item. At least not from top to bottom. You're going to have this ghosting zone right around the middle, which is difficult to see with how nice this black color came out on here, but it still shows on the rest of the mug from when we had done it earlier. If you want to be able to do it from top to bottom, you're going to have to get yourself a nice little convection oven and make use of it in a nice well-ventilated space.
And when it comes to how wide, this actually worked. The only mistake on here was the seam, which was our mistake when we put the paper on. Otherwise, it's sublimated 360. I wouldn't do something this wide repeatedly. It felt really stressful on the machine trying to pry it up, get it in, move it around. So maybe a one-sided design would be a yes on something this wide, but I wouldn't do it very often.
So we hope you liked what you saw, and if you did, click that like button, subscribe, ring the bell. Of course, leave us a nice comment, and check out the list of things you need to do this down below.
And if you're not watching this on our website, head over to justmikediy.com for more. Thanks for watching.